Welcome to the Higher Arabia podcast, powered by Matchmaker Number One. I'm Ines Mokrani, recruiter, coach, and connector of talent across Europe and the Middle East. In this podcast, we explore the challenges, opportunities, and success stories of hiring in one of the world's most dynamic regions. Let's dive in.
Welcome back to our discussion on women in leadership in the Middle East, a topic that's reshaping not just corporate boardrooms, but cultural narratives too.
Yep, it's amazing how much change we're witnessing, right? There's a dynamic mix of government initiatives, corporate buy-in, and the drive of women themselves breaking barriers.
Exactly. I mean, look at initiatives like Saudi Vision 2030 and the UAE's firm commitment to gender balance. They're really setting the stage for transformation.
Indeed. And on the corporate side, there's this clear realization that diversity isn't just a buzzword. It actually drives performance and sparks innovation, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's like companies are finally waking up and understanding that when you mix different perspectives, creativity and problem-solving skills really take off.
Definitely. But, while we're celebrating these drivers, there's still a lot of headwinds. What do you think are the main barriers that persist?
Well, there are several. First, there are those persistent cultural stereotypes about what leadership should look like. Then there's the real-life balancing act of managing professional ambitions with personal responsibilities, and often the glaring shortage of role models in top positions.
Yay, that balancing act is something many of us have heard about, but experiencing it is entirely different. It seems like every step forward still requires overcoming deeply ingrained societal expectations.
Totally, and what's really inspiring is that these barriers aren't static. They're being challenged every day by women stepping up and making bold moves.
Exactly. I recall a story I heard recently. It really resonated. There was a project in Riyadh, right? Initially, there was hesitation about appointing a female manager, but she turned it around completely.
Yes, in that case, not only did the manager excel, she doubled team productivity by bringing a balanced mix of empathy and structure.
Right on. That's such a powerful example. It really shows that inclusion isn't just the ethically right choice. It's a smart business decision. But don't you think there might be some who feel that traditional practices shouldn't be challenged so, abruptly?
Well, I can see that perspective, but I'd say the data doesn't lie.
Exactly.
Even critics have to acknowledge that when diverse leadership takes charge, the results, like increased innovation and market competitiveness, are hard to ignore.
I agree, though I do wonder if some might argue that these government initiatives are, in some cases, more symbolic than transformative. What's your take on that?
That's a fair point. I mean, symbolic gestures can sometimes fall short of real change if not backed up by strong corporate policies. But the initiatives like Saudi Vision 2030 are showing actual measurable progress, especially when companies start to hold themselves accountable.
Speaking of companies, for those listening who want to jump on board, what are a couple of concrete steps businesses can take to promote women in leadership?
Great question. First, mentorship and sponsorship programs are essential. Pairing emerging female leaders with seasoned executives can really catalyze professional growth.
Right, and aren't flexible work policies another crucial element? It's one thing to aspire to leadership when you have support for work-life balance.
Exactly. Flexible policies are key. And lastly, companies need to implement measurable metrics, like setting clear KPIs for gender diversity.
Yep.
These step-by-step actions ensure that change isn't just talk, but actually like foundational shift in how business is conducted.
That's really insightful. Even though the whole ecosystem, government, corporate, and social perceptions is still in flux, these actions clearly pave a way forward.
For sure. It's like building a house where every brick counts. If you start with a solid foundation through policy and mentorship, then you're more likely to see sustainable growth.
I like that analogy. Sure, there might be critics saying it's all too idealistic, but when you see the real numbers and outcomes, it just can't be ignored.
Exactly. And speaking of outcomes, it's crucial to highlight that these changes benefit everyone, not just women. Diverse leadership tends to lead to more inclusive decision-making and overall smarter strategies.
Right, and that feeds back into better innovation, customer understanding, and ultimately healthier businesses across the board.
I agree. It's a win-win situation, but there's also a need for continued advocacy and, you know, continuously challenging the status quo, which can be tough in environments steeped in tradition.
For sure. And that's where role models and success stories play such a vital role. They become, in a way, living proof that breaking these barriers is not only possible, but also highly beneficial.
Right. And each story, like that remarkable project in Riyadh, reinforces the message change is happening, and it's happening one success at a time.
Absolutely. I think it's exciting to see that more and more companies are beginning to implement these practices. Even small changes, when multiplied, can revolutionize an industry.
Totally. It's like a ripple effect. One change inspires another until the whole system is transformed.
Indeed. Before we wrap up, I do have one gentle challenge to that ideal picture. Some argue that despite progress, behind-the-scenes biases still cloud major decisions. How do you reconcile that with such optimistic stories?
That's a very valid concern. I mean, biases are deeply rooted and can persist as invisible gatekeepers. However, by putting measurable metrics in place and building mentorship across the board, companies can slowly but surely dismantle these biases.
True, absolutely. So, consistent effort and accountability are essentially the bridge between ambition and actual change.
Exactly, and as we see, these efforts are gradually reshaping organizational cultures. It might take time, but each initiative, each story of success is a step forward.
I love that perspective, incremental but meaningful change. It really shines a light on the transformative power of inclusion.
Right? And as more women break these barriers, they pave the way for future generations. It becomes an ongoing cycle of empowerment.
That's the vision we all want to see. One where leadership is defined by capability and vision, not traditional stereotypes or outdated norms.
Absolutely. And this isn't confined to just the Middle East. It resonates globally, as businesses everywhere recognize that diverse leadership yields richer, more resilient strategies.
For sure. It really comes down to changing mindsets at every level of the organization, doesn't it?
It does indeed. And with strong role models, supportive policies, and clear accountability, these changes can continue to accelerate.
Yep, indeed. Well, this conversation leaves us hopeful and inspired to see how these trends will evolve in the coming years. It's an exciting time. Thank you for such an engaging discussion.
Thank you too. It's been truly enlightening. And here's to the continued breaking of barriers and building of new paradigms in leadership.
Absolutely.
Thank you for tuning in to the Higher Arabia podcast, brought to you by Matchmaker Number One. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, share, and leave us a review. It helps us connect even more talented individuals with opportunities. See you next time. Until then, keep building bridges between cultures and careers.